Hi everyone, it's John. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, and it's been a long while since I have reviewed anything on this channel. It's mostly been history lately, because as you probably know if you watch me regularly, Historathon has really shaped a lot of my reading over the last year and a half or so. But a couple of months ago, I wanted to take a break from any history reading. I was knee-deep in Vikings, I think, and I just wanted a little bit of a palate cleanser, as they say. So I picked up a novel. Not a classic, not something I even usually read, but as you can already tell by the title of the video, it's The Talented Mr. Ripley. I read The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. That had been sitting on my bookshelf, is all I'll tell you, for a long, long time. And really enjoyed it. And I want to talk to you a little bit about it. So, I'll tell you at the top, this is going to be a pretty plot-heavy review with spoilers. So if you're interested in reading the book and not having anything given away, come back and watch this when you're done, because I'll be giving some things away. So I remember seeing The Talented Mr. Ripley not long after it was released, the film version, that is. I think it came out in 1999. And loving the way it was sort of carefully crafted with its demented psychopath, Tom Ripley, who was played by Matt Damon. And that combined with the stellar acting from Jude Law and Gwyneth Paltrow. And the way the film dealt frankly with a friendship with homoerotic overtones kind of drew me in and made it a quick favorite. I was only, I think, 16 or 17 at the time it came out, but I remember really, really liking the movie. I had no idea of the René Clément film starring Alain Delon that came out only a few years after the novel was published at the time. I'm pretty sure at the time I didn't even know that Patricia Highsmith was an author or know her name, and may not have even known or cared that it was originally a book to begin with. But fast forward several years, I see it at Borders at going out of sale. The going out of business sale, I think, is where I got it in 2011. You can see the price tag on the back, $13.95, still prominently displayed. That Borders tag is going to be an antique soon. So I got it, I snatched it up, put it on a bookshelf where it languished, as some of my books do, for another dozen years. And then a couple of months ago, like I said, needed a break from other stuff, so picked it up. And apparently, looking back at my Goodreads account, it's the first piece of fiction I've read since September of 2023. So, the novel opens with a guy named Herbert Greenleaf, who is a well-to-do shipping magnate, tracking down, basically chasing down the street, or pursuing very quickly, Tom Ripley. And Tom escapes into a bar, suspecting that this man, Herbert Greenleaf, might be a cop who is chasing him. So already, you know, Tom's mindset, he's got a guilt complex for something he thinks he may have done wrong. Tom scrapes by in life by rooming with a friend who could possibly be a boyfriend, it's unclear, and running a series of financial scams over the telephone. But Herbert Greenleaf, this guy who is pursuing him, thinks that Tom may have known his son. His son is named Dickie Greenleaf, who is this sort of dissolute trust fund baby who has scuttled off to Europe to try to pursue a career in art. But Tom he's down and out, clearly, but he's very resourceful and very forward-thinking, and he sees an opportunity here. He knows Herbert is mistaken. Tom and Dickie have clearly never met before. That becomes very obvious in future events, but this would give Tom the opportunity for travel. He has offered to, Herbert Greenleaf has offered to send him to Europe, to Italy, to track down his son, and to cover all of his expenses while he's there. So Tom, he has aspirations to do better for himself, and he also has this chance to basically suck Herbert Greenleaf's bank account dry while doing it, while he leisurely flits around Europe pretending to bring Dickie home. So, needless to say, he jumps at the chance. When Tom arrives in Italy, he finds Dickie has a love interest, albeit a kind of tepid one, at least on Dickie's part, and her name is Marge Sherwood. She's a flighty, ditzy young woman who is overly optimistic about her prospects with Dickie. Tom immediately builds a camaraderie with Dickie, but it quickly escalates to a kind of jealousy of everything Dickie has. His money, his relationship with Marge, his leisurely lifestyle. But Tom is a unique kind of sociopath. Sabotaging Dickie just isn't enough for him. He wants to live in Dickie's skin. He wants to become him. What makes Tom interesting is that he's also just downright likable. And he's a bit shy, almost pathologically shy, but he is a likable person. He's charismatic and interesting. And he's not operating under the impression that he's well adjusted. He knows that he's crazy. When he's alone, he starts mimicking Dickie's physical mannerisms, his voice, the way he dresses, even dressing in Dickie's clothes while he's away from his apartment, trying to get into his skin, trying to become him. Marge starts to raise suspicions about Tom's eagerness to gain access to their lives, which makes Dickie suspicious too. And one day Tom and Dickie go on a boat trip off the shore of Italy. And Tom anticipates that he's going to be cut off financially, or cut off from Dickie's life, so he spontaneously decides to bludgeon Dickie and dispose of his body. And he does. He immediately starts living as Dickie, including collecting his allowance from his father and gaslighting everyone he knows as to Dickie's appearance. His whereabouts. When one of Dickie's friends, Freddie Miles, begins to get a little too keen on what Tom did, he kills Freddie too, almost as an afterthought. Despite getting both the American and Italian police involved, Tom stays far enough ahead of all of them to elude suspicion regarding another murder. The novel ends with Tom sailing off to Greece, presumably to set up another life and fleece still more people, but he still suffers from the same paranoia that gripped him in the opening scene of the novel, where he's being chased into that restaurant or bar. So there's something really kind of worldly and cosmopolitan, I think, about, maybe it's just the fact that it's set in Italy, about the way Highsmith writes suspense that allowed me to enjoy it maybe more than I would have imagined. She doesn't confine her characters to maybe a lot of the kinds of scenes you might associate with American suspense or crime writing of the same period, which I think this book was published in 1955. Could be mistaken about that. But in the 50s, I believe. So there are no dark alleys in crowded American cities here, no smoke-filled rooms, no dutiful police procedurals. A lot of people who have read and reviewed the book fall in love with the writing. And I think it's successful because a lot of the pictures that she paints, the mise-en-scene she paints of Italy set in the mid-20th century, are really, really well done, I think. As someone who's never been to Italy, but they strike me as being well done. The writing is, I wrote in my review a couple of months ago, serviceable in a workaday way. I think that might be a little bit underselling it. It was good. I very, very much enjoyed it. But it doesn't draw attention to itself. It doesn't ever really strike me as literary or having sort of highfalutin ambitions. But that didn't stop me from enjoying it because I was reading it for what it is, a suspense novel or crime novel. So there is really sort of, you don't want something like this to be written like, uh, you know, you don't want it to be too flowery. There's something pared down and edited that feels appropriate for this kind of book, for this genre of writing. If you're like me, someone with little to no experience with reading crime-centered fiction or suspense-driven fiction, and are looking to read outside your comfort zone, this is a great place to start. If you enjoy travel or have an interest in reading about murder, like Hannibal Lecter of Aunt Lillette, who is nevertheless a likable person. If you're someone who regularly complains about how films diverge so much from the books they're based on, and you enjoyed the film as much as I did, you have to read this. One of the many reasons why the film was so well done, at least in my opinion, was because it was so clearly and closely based on the book. There, it is pretty much just I would say novelization of the book, but the film is the film clearly followed the book, so it's the novel came first, and the characterizations are so spot on. They so carefully and closely echo what's in the film that I can't help but think that the novel just served as sort of a manual, a handbook for Matt Damon, Jude Law, and Gwyneth Paltrow as they were filming the film. This is, by the way, the first of 5 Tom Ripley novels that Patricia Highsmith wrote between 1955, and she milked it for all it was worth. She wrote 4 more in the next 26 years, the last one being published in 1991. And they are cumulatively called the Ripleyad. So, I'm interested in reading other things right now, but I can see myself getting drawn into other novels just as easily as this one when I need something to sort of light and bubbly to read. By the way, if anyone has read novels 2 through 5 of the Ripleyad, and it's anything like this, like I said, the novel ends with Tom escaping off to Greece. Maybe that's where it picks up. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Are the others as good as this? Or are they anything like this? If they are, and you've read them, let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate it. And I might have to get my hands on them, if that's the case. I will leave my review there. I hope it wasn't too plot heavy. It was, though, really. But I will be back soon with another review, and I will talk to everyone later.